It's my day off. Let's talk about the Witcher novels. Hey guys, my name is Jen. Before you are the 5 novels that make up the Witcher series. There are 3 more books out there, but 2 are short story collections and 1 is a standalone novel. Are the short stories important to read before the novels? Personally, I would say yes. Yes, because those short stories have given me a lot of context to the events in the novels. If I went on to read the first novel without checking out the short stories, I would have missed out on understanding why some characters are the way they are. The short story collections are the exposition of The Witcher's nature and interests, of relationships between characters, and of the role destiny plays in their lives. Some state of affairs in the novels are the aftermath of events in the short stories. Check out my review on the short story collections called The Last Wish and Sword of Destiny. I have yet to read the standalone novel. Once I do, I might review it too. Now, as I've said, we have 5 main novels in this wonderful saga of The Witcher, thanks to the creative mind of its author, Andrzej Sapkowski. Yes, the series is finished, you can pick up the books, marathon them, and you won't know the atrocious suffering of waiting for years for the last book to come out. In order, we have Blood of Elves, The Time of Contempt, Baptism of Fire, The Tower of Swallows, and The Lady of the Lake. These are the years of when they were originally published in Polish, and this is when they were translated to English. They're all out there for devouring. Lucky you. So, what is this series all about? As the name suggests, it's mainly about Geralt of Rivia, who is a witcher. A witcher is a professional monster slayer. He has supernatural strength and reflexes, and he uses basic magic, mostly psychokinesis. You cannot say he's a sorcerer though, because sorcery is another official profession in the books. His mutation and training enabled him to use magic, but it's very limited. He can push things, ignite fire, and other things, but there's only a handful he can do. The setting of the saga, by the way, is called the Continent, which is divided into kingdoms. There's a major war brewing, the northern kings are meeting in secret, sorcerers are scheming and dividing into factions, and different races are taking up arms. Geralt gets tangled up in conflicts because, as a witcher, he travels a lot looking for contracts to kill monsters, and he encounters different beings and personalities who drag him into their affairs. The series also has 2 more major characters, Yennefer and Ciri. Yennefer of Vengerberg is a sorceress, powerful, ambitious, beautiful, intelligent, and to some people, very unlovable. Interestingly, she is my favorite. I seriously love every chapter that has her in it. She's brutally honest, and she has a personality which can convince anyone to do what she wants. You may say she's manipulative, but her intentions are not to harm, and generally it's for the good of her loved ones. She is Geralt's one true love. The other is Ciri, who is a princess and heiress to the throne of the kingdom of Sintra. Ciri also has mysterious powers that she's going to discover throughout the series, and we're there riding along with her as these powers finally manifest and become a part of her. Sintra was attacked by Nilfgaard, the royal family was killed, but Ciri was able to escape. Now the short stories have planted the seeds of Ciri and Geralt's bond. They're destined to meet each other. Much of the series is dedicated to Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri, the Trinity, simply trying to survive in their messed up world. Destiny pieces them together to make up an unconventional family structure of a father, a mother, and a daughter, respectively. They form a deep attachment despite not being blood related. They're going to do everything in their power to protect each other. Honestly, I love this series. It's intriguing, brutal, and funny. There's a certain sense of satisfaction I get every time the major characters are together. Geralt is like, I'll protect you and I'll also train you so you can defend yourself. Ciri is like, I don't want to lose everything again. I'll fight this time. And Yennefer is like, you touch Ciri or Geralt, I'll cut your throat. Let's talk about the books individually. In the first book, Blood of Elves, Ciri becomes Geralt's ward, and he trains her in Kaer Morhen to be a witcher. Geralt asked a sorceress named Triss Merigold to give Ciri her initial training in magic, and help him assess Ciri's dormant powers. Later on in the last chapter, we see Ciri and Yennefer meeting for the first time. Their interactions are my favorite part of the book. Actually, it's easily up there with my most favorite scenes in the entire series. I've reread that chapter so many times because I like how Sapkowski attaches one person to another and make them start caring for each other. Also, the sense of humor of the author, it works for me. I had a wonderful time reading this. I don't know about you, but after reading this book, I know it got me. Hook, line, and sinker. I knew I was going to read the entire series. This book isn't battle heavy yet, and probably not the most exciting book in the series, but it excels in humor, dialogues, and setting up the social and political structures. A notable quote in the book is this: "To be neutral does not mean to be indifferent or insensitive. You don't have to kill your feelings. It's enough to kill hatred within yourself." The second book, The Time of Contempt. This is probably the most Yennefer centric book in the series. A lot of mages were introduced. I see Yennefer's place among her colleagues in magic, and I come to understand the organizational structure of sorcerers. Let me try to mention some events without spoiling anything major. I'm being very careful not to give spoilers here. If you think me mentioning some situations in the series is spoiling the story for you, I apologize. You may stop the video now. Okay, in this book, Geralt reunites with Yennefer and Ciri, and in that moment, I see them as a family and hope springs up in my heart. I find myself rooting for them, wishing, begging for them to have a happy ending, riding into the sunset together on the last page of the last book. As this is a spoiler free review, I can tell you if my wish did come true. My favorite part of the book is when Ciri was in danger and Yennefer went all badass to help her. An applause to the Lady Enchantress. Ciri's chapter at the end of this book, I enjoyed that too. The character building moments are great. I feel so proud of her. She's on her way to becoming a fast and formidable fighter like Geralt. There was one moment though that I found upsetting. It appeared more like an assault more than a life-changing experience to Ciri, but I'll leave it for your own interpretation. A notable quote in the book is this: "But you should act. Be brave. Seize life by the scruff of the neck. Believe me, little one, you should only regret inactivity, indecisiveness, hesitation. You shouldn't regret actions or decisions, even if they occasionally end in sadness and regret." In the third book, Baptism of Fire, I realized there really is not much witchering going on in the novels. Geralt shares the mic and center stage with Ciri. It's actually starting to feel like Ciri is the main character, being, the child of destiny or the child of prophecy, bringing in that popular fantasy trope of the chosen one. Geralt and Yennefer exist to protect her, and the rest of the books from here on is mostly about them finding her. Here I found a new favorite character, Regis. He's awesome. Watch out for him. Yennefer was only in a few pages here, but it was mind-blowing and even funny. Her screen time may be short, but it provided me with so much clarity to the whole story, and I was excited to see what she's up to next. I struggled big time with Ciri's situation here. I didn't care much for the new group of people she's with, but I guess these elements were necessary to further mature her as a character. She's hurting both physically and emotionally. I just wanted to see her survive all this, so I keep reading, turning page after page after page, even if some parts become dull and dragging. Sapkowski's style of storytelling succeeded in making me understand how deeply Ciri is wounded in more ways than one, but also it made me understand. It made me believe that she's going to get through this. Something incredible, powerful is brewing inside her, and I want to be there when she unleashes it, so I keep reading. The political turmoil continues. Parts of the continent have been invaded by Nilfgaard. The sorceresses are regrouping. It's getting crazy now. A notable quote in the book is this: "Were I to attempt to be good to everyone, to the entire world and to all the creatures living in it would be a drop of fresh water in the salt sea. In other words, a wasted effort. Thus I decided to do specific good, good which would not go to waste. I'm good to myself and my immediate circle." In the fourth book, The Tower of Swallows, or in the British books, The Tower of the Swallow, the story is becoming more and more action-packed. Ciri is being hunted by spies, mercenaries, and some other evil forces who want to use her name and heritage and harness her powers for selfish reasons. Well, mainly world domination. Geralt is broody and looking for her. Yennefer is pissed off and looking for her. They're bent on looking for their daughter. Everyone's worried. War is raging in the continent. And the emperor in the south is antsy. There's a growing crisis everywhere. Our major characters are developing in really interesting ways, especially Ciri. You will feel like you're growing up with her. Ciri's fight scenes at the end, it's incredible. It's like in sports, like watching your team score a beautiful goal. There are heaps of good banter and mayhem, especially in Geralt's company. As the book before the last, there are lots of WTF moments. It did a good job of keeping me interested, of making me wonder how all this wonderful craziness is going to be wrapped up. A short notable quote in the book is this: politeness costs nothing. Finally, the last book, The Lady of the Lake. By this time, it's quite established that Ciri is powerful. She's pushing limits and on every turn trying to figure out what is possible. The events are actually insane, like Doctor Who insane. I can't decide if I like that or not. Anyway, do I like the direction the story went to? No? Yes? No? Well, it's okay, but I'm not ecstatic about it. This book gives us major revelations. The main characters, which I care about too much now to stop reading, they reunite to fight one final battle together. Lots of magic, lots of sword fights, and different timelines are turning up to complete the picture. Everyone's intentions are coming to light. The peripheral characters made substantial contributions to the scenes, and they become just as memorable as the main trio. Now, the ending. I can't really say anything about it, it's for you to find out. These books seemed extremely fragmented, though. The number of times it took the focus away from the main event was irritating, but I was so caught up with the main narrative, I didn't mind however choppy the journey was. I just want to get there. Do I think the series is bad? No, absolutely not. The world building is excellent and the characters are well fleshed out. And if it's not clear enough, I'm in love with this series. In my heart, it just joined the ranks of Harry Potter, A Song of Ice and Fire, Star Wars, and The Lord of the Rings. It's a tale of friendship, family, and love. Yes, it doesn't sound unique at all. We've read too many stories about friendship, family, and love. But the Witcher series, it's extraordinary in style and construction. When I finished the last book, the whole thing felt legendary. It was like I woke up from a dream. The story didn't end there because it continued in my mind. It's that magical. It's like Sapkowski spins the ball on his finger, passes it on to me while the ball is still spinning, and it's up to me to continue spinning it or stop it. He gave me that power to decide how it ended or how it should continue. I really can't explain it. You have to experience it for yourself. A takeaway quote from the book is this: we won't manage to do much more than we're capable of, but we shall all do our best to make sure it won't be much less. Whether you're a fan of the TV show, video game, or comics, I highly recommend you read the source material of it all, these books. And that ends the review. With the physical books, these are published in the US by Orbit. The covers are concept arts from the video game. This and this, these images don't represent the contents of the book. Some other international covers are way better than this. Not the British ones, though. I think those look too simple. Off the top of my head, the Spanish and Russian covers. They're awesome. I hope they re-release the English versions with better covers. Before I go, I have a quick question for you. Please tell me in the comments below. For you who have finished the books, when you read them, which faces or voices did you imagine? The actors from the Netflix show or the video game? For you who have not read the books yet, why haven't you? Thanks for watching!